Hello and welcome to another edition of TJ Plays Some AI Stuff. In this edition, I want to talk a little bit more, as if I haven't been talking about it enough, about the Figma Console MCP. I've been seeing a lot of people using it and posting on it, which is great. I love it. I love seeing that. So I thought I would dig into just some more use cases that we run into in real world situations. And one of the things that I think might be really good to point out is the importance between design to code parity and how important it is for those things to be lined up. There's always people complaining about how the code doesn't match the design or design doesn't match the code and vice versa. So we have a tool that's actually built into the Figma Console MCP. And since Figma Console MCP is basically the chasm filler, it is the gap that it is the tether that brings together the design and development gap. We have this set of functionality where since Figma MCP is bidirectional and it can read from the code base that it's in and apply designs from the Figma side of things to code. It can also go in the other direction and read the code and then apply updates to the component or the design that it's supposed to be matched up with on the Figma side of things. So in the documentation, you can see some of the features and details around some of this design to code parity tooling that we have. We do have a tool for it specifically. I won't go too much into detail about it, but the idea is that imagine that you're a product designer for this particular demo. We're just going to assume that like this is a product designer who has a really comprehensive button. This is our altitude design system. We use this for demos pretty often, so you may have seen this button chart before, this button grid. So we have this button component set here. It has all of these different variants and states and properties here. And we want to say that this is the canonical source of truth. And I'm playing the role of a product designer. And what I am seeing is just more product designers are more comfortable with using things like Claude Code. So I'm going to use Claude Code for this demo. This is a fresh Claude Code instance. I haven't communicated with it yet or anything, so this is all brand new what I'm about to do with it. So if it makes mistakes, I'm sorry. I am inside the altitude design system code repository inside the code base. This is basically what it looks like. This is a public repository, so anybody can go here and clone it and then play with it themselves. This is a web component and React based design system. So what I want to do is say that I'm the designer who spent so much time working on the fidelity of this component, and it is AI ready. It is ready to go. And I need to make sure that everything downstream when development inherits this component, however they decide to put this component together, whether they are open to AI methods or whether they're going to do this themselves manually. I just need to ensure that everything that they've done thus far is in good shape. So what I'm going to say is, please use the Figma console to test design parity between the altitude button component and the web component button component in this code base. We need to make sure that the web component button aligns with the canonical source of truth, which would be the Figma button. And then let's see what happens. So I didn't give it any links or anything. I didn't give it the link to the button. Figma console is pretty good at doing a deep component search and looking through what's open and finding it. So now it's running the Figma search components. So it found it already, which is pretty quick. That's great. Barely any token spent on that. And then it should be running through all of the properties. And then what it'll end up doing is it'll like run through and gather all of this information from the spec, the metadata, the tokens, detached components, like all the things that it needs to be able to determine whether or not this is in fact a well-groomed, well-structured component. Then it goes and looks on the code side. And then since we have a React version and a web component version, the React version that we have here are just wrapped web components. So I wanted it to go to like the actual component itself on the web component library and then compare it to that, because that's going to be the one that's going to be the closest to being ready to go. And I actually don't know what this is going to return, because I made some edits on the Figma side, and it might return like, I don't know, a 50 out of 100 or something. So it might not actually look too good. All right. So it's saying that it has everything it needs. It says, let me run the die. So there is a design parity check, and there's it should return it in like kind of a templated format. So that way it's easy to scan. And then this is it gathering. This is kind of like the part where it gathers all the information together to spit out ideally, this nice little structured report of what it's found. And then I want to show you something cool, what happens after that. So let it do its thing. It spent about 2,000 tokens on this so far. And so far I've taken maybe about a minute, 2 minutes through this process. But there are a lot of variants, there are a lot of states here. It's a lot of things to jump through. And then same on the code side. The developed web component has a lot of pieces to it too. So we'll just let it do its thing. And then just to show you what it'll be looking through, this is the web component piece. And then these are the components. And then this is the button. And then this is the button and all of the pieces that it is going to be sorting through to confirm that this is in fact aligned with what's in the Figma side of things. So it looks like it finished. And then here's what we got. So now I have a comprehensive data from both sides. Let me present the analysis. So, I got a 58 out of 100. So it looks like it's really just 0 critical, 0 major, 11 minor, 9 are just informational. So the raw score is misleading, low because the tool flags expected paradigm differences, code only runtime props as discrepancies. The visual parity is strong, which is great. That's mainly what a product designer is looking for. But there are a few real issues worth addressing. So it looks like there's some alignment where there's some matches across. So this is good. This is the aligned what is matching, which is great. It's saying all these things are there. Which is awesome. And then it's some action required. It looks like there might be some inconsistencies with border radius, recommendations that it provides, some notes, expected paradigm difference, not actionable. Okay, this is all important stuff here. This is good. So. Let's see. I wanted to see if it caught it, because I put this Boolean value in there. Do you practice Santeria? And I don't practice Santeria. And it caught it, and then it says it should be removed, which is great. That's what you wanted to do. So this is a great analysis for a product designer to realize, hey, there's some drift here. So I've seen this is like, all right, developers, you've done some stuff. I have access to now check your work. So I've checked it, and this is what I'm finding. So now you could say something like, great, thank you for this analysis. Can you please create a GitHub ticket with all of these items as checklist in sections and assign it to me, or assign it to somebody. I don't know. I'm just saying assign it to me. So this tool, so it's already in the GitHub repository. And if you have the GitHub CLI available, then what it'll do is it'll take that analysis that it just got, and since as the product designer, a lot of these things in there were a little bit too technical for me to take care of myself, because I had to do a TypeScript and some things that I may not feel comfortable even using something like Claude Code to go and fix. So I would prefer to have someone else address this. and the best way to do. And right now I'm using GitHub issues to do this. It doesn't have to be GitHub issues. If you're using like Asana, or if you're using Trello or another ticketing system, by all means use those. Jira or something. You can easily put those in there too. So it went through. It created a ticket. It says all the things that it did, and then I can click this, or I can just go over here to the issues. And then there's the issue that I created. Button design, parity audit, Figma versus web component. And then, so it puts the score in there, all of those things. It assigned it to me. If you said like assign it to James, like it'll find James on your team and assign it to James. So it breaks everything down into this checklist, so the developer can come in here and check the ones that are working or not working. And then these are the ones that are aligned. So it already did check those, which is great. So anyway, this is super helpful when you're working with teams and the teams are split, especially if there's teams that are working in different time zones and there's just a sprint review that happens. This is a great way to conduct a sprint review, to maybe create a milestone and add all these tickets to that, depending on how your team likes to do these things. But this is also an awesome way to keep checks and balances in also the history of the component and ensure that further down the line that this doesn't happen again, that there is no more drift. So whether you're using AI to build these components or they're manually building them themselves, this is still a wonderful tool to be able to check against those things too. So anyway, so this is a demo that was showing drift from design to development. I'll end up doing another demo where I'll show how things aren't lining up on the design side, where there's actually some properties and things that developers are enabling, where some metadata and some pieces are actually missing on the metadata panel and properties panel on in the Figma project itself. All right, I hope you enjoyed this. I will see y'all next time.